Most people have felt this before, but they don't talk about it. You're alone in your room. Everything is normal. Nothing has moved. Nothing has changed. But for a moment, you pause. Not because you heard something. Not because you saw anything. Just a feeling. Like something is there, but you can't explain why. So you ignore it. You tell yourself it's nothing. Your mind, your imagination, and you move on. But what's strange is, that moment doesn't just happen once. It shows up again, in different ways, at different times. Small things, a sudden awareness, a shift in the atmosphere, a feeling you can't shake even when nothing is wrong. And most people dismiss it because they don't know what it means. But ancient texts didn't ignore moments like this. They paid attention to them because they believed these were not random feelings. They were signals, not loud ones, not obvious ones, but consistent ones. And once you start noticing them, you begin to realize something unsettling. You may have experienced them before without recognizing what they were. In this video, we're going to break down 20 specific signs that have been observed for centuries. Not to scare you, not to force belief, but to help you recognize what you may have already experienced. And more importantly, what you should do when it happens again. But before we get into all of them, you need to understand one thing first. These signs don't appear the way people expect. They don't start dramatic. They don't announce themselves clearly. They begin small, almost easy to ignore. And that's exactly why most people miss them. So instead of jumping straight into everything at once, let's start with the first few. Because once you recognize these, the rest become impossible to overlook. Sign number 1, the sudden shift in the room. You're sitting there, doing something normal. Then without warning, your attention pulls away from what you were doing. Nothing changes physically, but the room feels different. It's not fear. It's not panic. It's like your awareness just expanded for no clear reason. You look around. Everything is still the same. But something inside you is alert now, and you can't explain why. Most people brush this off, but this is usually the first signal. Not that something entered the room, but that you became aware of it. Sign number 2. You feel watched, but not threatened. There's a difference between fear and presence. Fear feels heavy, threatening. This doesn't. It feels calm, but intense, like you're being noticed, not judged, not attacked, just seen. You might even turn around suddenly like someone just looked at you, but no one is there. And still, the feeling lingers. That quiet awareness that you're not entirely alone. Sign number 3. Unexplained calm in a moment that should feel ordinary. Sometimes it's the opposite of tension. You're not scared. In fact, you feel unusually calm. Not sleepy. Not relaxed. Just settled. Like something just removed pressure you didn't even realize you were carrying. You pause for a second, because the calm feels different. Deeper than normal. And it doesn't come from anything around you. It just arrives. Sign number 4. You suddenly become aware of your surroundings. You weren't paying attention before. Then, out of nowhere, you notice everything. The silence, the air, the space around you. Even the smallest details feel sharper than usual. It's like your senses just switched on. Not because something happened, but because something made you aware. And that shift is hard to ignore. Sign number 5. You feel a presence behind you. This one happens to a lot of people. You're facing one direction, and suddenly, you feel like someone is behind you. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything. But the feeling is strong enough that you almost turn immediately. Sometimes you do. Nothing is there. But for a brief moment, you were sure something was. Sign number 6. A quiet urge to pause. You're about to do something simple. Pick up your phone. Leave the room. Say something. Then something inside you says, "Wait." Not loudly, just a subtle resistance, like a gentle interruption. You hesitate, even if you don't understand why. And for a moment, you stop. This is one of the easiest signs to ignore, because it doesn't force you, it just suggests. Sign number 7. You feel observed when you're completely alone. Not in a fearful way, in a very quiet, subtle way. You're alone. You know you are. But there's a brief moment where it doesn't feel that way. Like your actions are being noticed, even the small ones. You adjust slightly. You sit differently. You become aware of yourself. And then it fades. Sign number 8. Your attention is pulled without a reason. You're focused on something. Then suddenly, your attention shifts to a specific spot. A corner, a doorway, an empty space. There's nothing there, but something made you look. And for a second, you keep looking, trying to understand why. But there's no clear answer. Sign number 9. You feel a difference in the atmosphere. Nothing moves, nothing changes visually, but the environment feels different. Heavier or lighter. Still or charged. You can't explain it. You just notice it. Like walking into a room and sensing something before anyone says a word. Except this time, you're already inside the room. Sign number 10. You sense something, then it's gone. It happens quickly. A moment, a feeling, a shift, and then it disappears. Everything goes back to normal, and you're left wondering if anything actually happened. Most people dismiss this part, because it didn't last. But that's exactly how it works. It doesn't stay long. It doesn't force itself. It just appears, long enough to be noticed. And then it's gone. Sign number 11. You wake up suddenly, fully alert. There are times you wake up for no clear reason. Not slowly, not groggy, instantly alert. Like something pulled you out of sleep. You look around. Everything is quiet. Nothing is happening. But your awareness is already active. Your body is awake before your mind catches up. And for a moment, you just stay still, trying to understand why you woke up like that. Sign number 12. You feel like something is in the room while you're lying down. This one is harder to ignore. You're in bed, lights off, everything quiet. And suddenly, you feel it. Not movement, not sound, just presence. The room feels occupied. You don't want to move immediately. You don't want to turn too fast. You just stay there, aware, because even without seeing anything, you feel like you're not alone. Sign number 13. You get a strong inner nudge to do something small. It's not dramatic, something simple. Stand up. Check something. Move somewhere. And the feeling is specific. It's not random. It doesn't come from overthinking. It just appears. Clearly. And for a second, you know exactly what to do. But if you ignore it, it fades just as quickly. Sign number 14. You suddenly feel exposed. Nothing has changed. You're in the same position, same environment. But there's a brief moment where you feel seen, not physically exposed, but internally, like something understands you beyond what's visible. It's not fear, it's awareness, and it makes you pause. Sign number 15. You feel a quiet pull towards stillness. You're busy, your mind is active. Then something shifts. You feel the need to stop, not because you're tired, but because something is drawing you into stillness. You sit. You pause, and for a moment, everything feels slower, clearer, like you've stepped out of motion into something quieter. Sign number 16. You notice something small that feels important. It could be anything, a sound, a movement, a detail you would normally ignore. But this time, it stands out. Not because it's loud, but because it feels intentional. You focus on it longer than usual, trying to understand why it caught your attention. And even after you move on, it stays in your mind. Sign number 17. You feel a subtle pressure to pay attention. You're distracted. Then something inside you says, focus. Not forcefully, just a quiet push. Like your attention is being guided towards something specific. You become more aware, more present. And for a moment, you stop drifting. You're fully there. Sign number 18. You feel like time slowed down briefly. It doesn't last long, just a moment. But everything feels slightly slower. Your thoughts, your movements, your awareness. Like you stepped outside your normal pace. Nothing dramatic happens. But the shift is noticeable. And when it ends, everything returns to normal just as quickly. Sign number 19. You feel a strong sense of pause. You're about to continue with your day. Then something inside you holds you back. Not fear, not confusion, just pause. You don't know why, but you feel like moving forward immediately isn't the right thing to do. So you wait, even if it's just for a few seconds. And that pause feels intentional. Sign number 20. You know something happened, but you can't explain it. This is the one most people dismiss, because it's hard to describe. You felt something, not clearly, not fully, but enough to know that moment was different. And when it passes, you're left with a question. What was that? Most people move on quickly, because they can't explain it. But that doesn't mean nothing happened. It just means you didn't have the language for it. Now we shift. Because noticing is one thing. Understanding what to do with it is something else entirely. At this point, the question isn't whether you've experienced these moments. It's whether you've been ignoring them. Because none of these signs force you. They don't interrupt your life loudly. They don't demand attention. They appear quietly and then leave, which means something important. You are not being controlled. You are being made aware. And awareness always comes with a choice. You can dismiss it, or you can respond to it. Most people choose the first option, not because they're careless, but because it feels easier. If you treat everything as nothing, you never have to adjust anything. You never have to think deeper. You never have to change anything. But that also means you remain unaware of what's actually happening around you. So the real question becomes simple. If these moments are not random, then what should you actually do when they happen? Not dramatically, not emotionally, just correctly. The first thing is this: pay attention without overreacting. You don't need to panic. You don't need to assume danger. But you also shouldn't dismiss it immediately. Just notice. Stay present for a moment longer than usual. Let your awareness settle instead of rushing to explain it away. Because clarity doesn't come when you rush past something. It comes when you stay with it just long enough to understand it. The second thing is this: stop ignoring repeated patterns. One moment might mean nothing, but repeated moments are not random. If you felt this more than once, in different situations, at different times, then it's no longer coincidence. It's a pattern. And patterns are meant to be recognized, not feared, not worshipped. Recognized. Because once you recognize a pattern, you stop treating it like an accident. You start treating it like information. The third thing is this: protect your environment. Not just physically, mentally. What you allow into your space matters. The conversations, the content, the energy around you. Because awareness becomes harder in a noisy environment. When everything is loud, subtle things disappear. But when your environment is clear, you notice more. And what you notice becomes easier to understand. The fourth thing is this: respond with calm, not fear. Fear distorts perception. It makes everything feel threatening, even when it isn't. But calm keeps you accurate. It allows you to observe without reacting too quickly, because not every presence is something to run from, but every moment of awareness is something to understand. And the final thing is this: don't wait for something dramatic before you take it seriously. Most people only pay attention when something becomes obvious, when it's loud, when it's undeniable. But by then, they've already ignored the quieter moments that came first. And those quiet moments are usually the most important, because they come early, before anything escalates, before anything becomes clear. They give you a chance to notice before you're forced to react. So if you've experienced any of these signs, even once, then don't rush past it. Don't overthink it. Just recognize it. Because the moment you stop dismissing what you feel is the moment you start seeing things more clearly than before. Most people don't ignore these moments because they're careless. They ignore them because nothing dramatic happens afterward. Life continues. Everything looks normal. So they move on. But that's exactly how subtle things get missed. Not because they're absent, but because they're quiet. The truth is, you don't need something extreme to recognize that something is real. You just need to notice what keeps repeating. Because once a pattern appears more than once, it stops being random. And when something stops being random, it deserves attention. Not fear, just attention. You don't have to decide what everything means today. You don't have to explain every experience you've had, but you should stop dismissing what you've already felt. Because awareness doesn't come all at once. It builds slowly, moment by moment, until one day you realize you've been noticing things you used to ignore completely, and that changes how you see everything. So if even one of these signs felt familiar to you, don't rush past it. Sit with it. Think about it. Because recognition is always the beginning of understanding. And understanding changes how you respond the next time it happens. If you want more videos like this, not just explanations, but clarity you can actually recognize, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because the next video won't just show you what to notice, it will show you what most people keep overlooking even after they've seen the signs. And by the time they realize it, it's already been happening for longer than they thought.